Hello. Today, we will begin Module 1, Introduction to Government by going over Section 1, Theories of Governance. In this video, you will learn about the three basic forms of government. Recognizing their differing natures will lay the groundwork for later discussions about the United States system of government. While our world has seen countless philosophical, political, and religious practices, the foundations of the United States are rooted in the traditions of Western Europe, and we will often return to those particular institutions throughout this series. As mentioned, since we are drawing from more than 2,000 years of human history, we will keep things pretty basic. In ancient Greece, philosophers and scholars examined laws, governments, and the ways people organize societies in order to live with one another. These writings and more influenced the American framers and led to the system of government we enjoy now. Aristotle made a study of the reasons why governments rise and fall. One of Plato's dialogues questioned the role of the statesman. We'll look at their thoughts in a few minutes. In his monumental work, the historian Herodotus envisioned a fictional debate in which the Persian king Darius I and his inner circle discussed how best to rule their lands. The three systems under discussion were monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy. Democracy can be defined as a system where citizens collectively participate in decision-making by voting on laws and policies. The original Greek word demokratia is a portmanteau of demos, meaning people, and kratos, meaning power or control. According to Herodotus, Otanes, a Persian nobleman in Darius's court, spoke for a democracy. He argued, how could monarchy be a harmonious and coherent system when it permits the ruler to do whatever he wishes, to be accountable to no one? This argument against absolutism was, and remains, an important point to which we will return. Ancient Athens serves as the archetype of a democratic government. The constitution of the Athenians, possibly written by the individual known as Pseudo-Xenophon, or the Old Oligarch, in the 5th century BCE, discusses the structure of the Athenian government and demonstrates how their democracy should function. A constitution in the ancient world was not merely a written document, but also a way of life that included political institutions, education, religion, and military service. The Athenian constitution's writer did not personally support democracy, but he insightfully observed, "For the people do not want a good government under which they themselves are slaves, they want to be free and to rule. Bad government is of little concern to them." The Athenian system of direct democracy provided equal protection under law and equal rights of political participation to every citizen regardless of birth, wealth, social status, education, life experience, or intellectual capability. Thus, each citizen was able to vote on laws personally, emphasizing active civic participation and decision-making. This became an inspiration for town hall meetings in the U.S. Institutions such as the Ecclesia, the Assembly of Citizens, fostered equality among male citizens, although it excluded women and slaves. Athenian political thought regarding democracy can be found in the works of Aeschylus, Sophocles, Thucydides, and others. Aristotle declared that the basic premise of the democratic sort of regime is freedom. He argued that the essence of democracy lies in ensuring freedom for citizens to make collective decisions. He warned of potential mob rule and emphasized balance. As a political practice, democracy continued through the Roman Republic and in some later Italian city-states before largely disappearing in the 15th century. By the 18th century, institutional changes in Europe spurred on by the Enlightenment led to a re-examination of democratic principles. From this revival would come the ideas that inspired the American Republic. Aristocracy is ruled by the best persons or those who rule with a view to what is best for the state and for sharing in its interests. Aristotle contrasted aristocracy in which virtue enables one to rule with oligarchy in which wealth is the key to power. Another difference can be that, typically, there are hereditary restrictions on membership in an aristocratic class while oligarchs do not have inherited privileges. Megabyzos, another noble in Darius's court, advocated for an aristocracy. He agreed with Otanes that tyranny should be ended but opposed transferring power to the people. His opinion of the common folk was poor, as evidenced when he said, "Nothing can be both more unintelligent or insolent than the worthless, ineffectual mob." Instead, he called for the elites to rule by declaring, "The best men are most likely to make the best decisions." Through much of Europe's history, aristocrats held political and military power, sometimes without the approval of a monarch, but more often with ennobled entitlements granted by their king or queen. Monarchy is ruled by one person, typically a king, queen, emperor, or empress. The original Greek word monarchia comes from monos, meaning only or one, and archi, meaning rule or command. Kings and kingships have existed for millennia, and this form of government has been the norm for much of the world. In fact, Alulin was a mythological Mesopotamian monarch who is regarded as the first king ever to rule. King Sargon of Akkad is considered the first king in recorded history, ruling over the Akkadian Empire in Mesopotamia, or modern-day Iraq, around 2330 BCE. In Herodotus's telling, Darius argued for monarchy. He acknowledged each style of government had its advantages and disadvantages, but, if we compare the best examples of these three types of government, the best democracy, the best aristocracy, and the best monarchy, I declare that monarchy surpasses the other two by far. According to the Persian king, one man, if he were the noblest and most virtuous, would have the kind of clarity and self-control that is required of great leaders. Ideally, there would be no civil war or mob rule in the monarchy, only an ultimate authority who could make quick yet wise decisions and keep order. However, when rulers stop ruling for the common good, and start ruling strictly for their own benefit, they risk their likely fall from power. Aristotle observed the difficulty of one man being entirely virtuous and that military virtue was often the default position of rulers. Indeed, the German sociologist Max Weber noted, everywhere the king is primarily a warlord. Kingship originates in charismatic heroism. Hit pause and reflect on the number of kings in history who are primarily noted for their wars and conquests. For the purposes of this discussion, though, we are going to skip several thousand years and focus on a seminal event that influenced the American system of government, the signing of the Magna Carta. This document, signed by King John I of England in 1215, limited royal authority and reintroduced the idea of shared power in Europe. Asserted the rule of law and the protection of rights, and enshrined principles such as trial by jury and no taxation without representation. Chief Justice Sir Edward Coke championed the Magna Carta as the foundation of English liberties, and framed and drafted the Petition of Right in 1628. The Magna Carta shaped the idea of constitutional limits to royal power, while the petition prohibited imprisonment without cause and the quartering of troops in private homes. The two documents, and Coke's commentaries, influenced the Bill of Rights and due process clauses in the U.S. Constitution. Aristotle believed politics was the natural method of humans for organizing their lives together in society. He claimed that man is a political animal, meaning that humans always form traditions and systems of rule. Unfortunately, wherever humans gather, there is the chance for corruption. Thus, the three forms of government can decay into twisted versions of themselves. Monarchy becomes tyranny, aristocracy becomes oligarchy, and democracy becomes mob rule. Few saw this better than the Greek nobleman and soldier Polybius. Next time. In the next video, we will talk about Polybius and his thoughts on democracy, aristocracy, and monarchy, and how they lead to the American style of government. Until then, thank you for your time. If you want to learn more about the subjects we have discussed, here are the sources used for this section.